Welcome back to the channel, guys. Here we are with the forged B-Series build. This is a B18 C1 out of a Acura Integra GSR. My current project. It's got Acrylo pistons, manly HP rods, gold needle block guard, and while the motor is out of the car, I'm rebuilding it. And what better time than to knock out the maintenance and installing some of the critical parts that make this thing work. So this video is going to be about how to install a water pump on a B-Series motor. Now clearly it's a lot easier for me because the engine's already out of the car. There's a lot of sources on how to do it in the car, but hopefully from seeing where it is, this will help give you some insight on what you're getting yourself into. Water pumps on a B-Series usually last around 60 to 100,000 miles or more depending, but when you get to that 100,000 mile mark, it's probably worth just inspecting your timing belt and your water pump to make sure everything's in tip-top shape. Now let's get right to it. I have the old water pump here and the new one, OEM Honda. OEM is always the best, guys. Can never really go wrong with it. So we have the block here. The water pump is going to be mounted right here where the front of the crankshaft is, where the timing belt and everything is located. Now it's always good to take a good inspection of this hole here and make sure that there's no RTV or any contaminants. Always just good measure to keep your parts clean. A clean engine is a happy engine. Basically, you got the water pump here and it's gonna go on a little bit something like so. Starting to look like a real motor, ain't it? All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is get some RTV or Hondabond and start putting a thin layer around the seal just to make sure that we don't get any coolant leaking out of the sides. Okay, so we have the old and the new water pump here. I kept the bolts in the old one just so I know where they go, which ones were where. Now we're gonna go to the back here. You can see this rubber seal is what really seals the coolant off from escaping. And we're gonna take this Hondabond and basically outline the seal and kind of get a thin layer just to make sure that no coolant is getting out. Now this isn't required, but it is highly recommended and it never hurts to have a little bit of Hondabond. Now that we got some Hondabond on the water pump, we're just gonna kind of smooth it out a little bit and make sure we're not missing any little spots. You don't need too much. It's definitely not a quantity thing, it's much more of a quality thing. Alright, now that we got our thin layer of Hondabond on, it is time to mount it to the block. Quick tip, if you're meticulous like me, check the threads in your bolts for any old dried RTV. Just clean them out with a razor blade or something. Quality over quantity, guys. It's definitely worth the extra effort in the end. Now we're going to mount the water pump to the block, and it's going to go like so. Now just take the respective bolts and mount them in hand tight. Just to get the pump on there good so it's not sliding around or anything. Now it's time to check the torque specs. Got my Haynes manual here for the Integra, and let's go check out how tight we got to torque these bolts. Okay, now we're here, dual overhead cam engines, page 2B-3. All the way at the bottom, we see water pump bolts, and that's going to be 104 inch-pounds. 104 inch-pounds are about 8 to 9 foot-pounds. If you don't have an inch-pound torque wrench, you should be able to get away with it. Just be very careful, and when you're torquing it down, make sure to do it in quarter-turn increments so you don't over-torque. Trust me, it's not worth over-torquing the bolts. When it goes righty-tighty to righty-loosey, you're not gonna have a good time. That's when we gotta break out the tap and die kit, and you don't want me to have to make a video on that for y'all. So let's get to torquing the bolts, and we should be all good to go. Now that looks good to me. Check it out. Everything torqued down to spec. Take a look from the back side. You can see the fins of the water pump. Spin it, nothing's rubbing, clearances are good. If you'd like, it's always recommended if there's any excess RTV coming from the mating surfaces, you can wipe them down with a cloth or just smooth them out, just to save you some time in the future if you have to replace it and you just gotta be going at it with a razor blade for a while. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope this video helped you out with your water pump installs. If you want to see more content like this and follow along with the Forged B Series build, be sure to subscribe and like the video. Drop a comment below if you have any questions. And if you want more content like this and some other stuff, I have a TikTok at M3WokeOfficial and my Instagram at M3Woke. Definitely give those a look. There's a lot of fun stuff going on over there. Now I'm planning on getting this engine in my car and rolling by December. So if you're interested in Hondas, B Series, anything JDM, definitely check the channel out. Thank you so much again for all your support and watching, and good luck with your projects.
Hey, pop the hood.
Pop the hood?
Pop the hood.
2JZ engine, no shit.